license harvesting is as it sounds like. You harvest a license that you don't think should be checked out currently, meaning that someone is not actually using the application, they're idling. Now, what do I mean by idling? I mean that someone opened up an AutoCAD license, and let's say AutoCAD, and didn't use it. Just, I don't know, used it for like 5 minutes, checked something, and went to make coffee. I don't know, went on a break, went on Facebook. I don't know, whatever. You can know that. Now, there is a component called the OpenLM agent that if you have that on the end user workstations, that it can track the CPU, memory, operations of the disk and also CPU, and it can define a certain threshold where if the application usage goes above it, meaning a lot of CPU and memory are currently used by the application, meaning that it's currently used by the user, if it's clicking, if it's doing stuff, or maybe just by a simulation or just processing running midnight. So the OpenLM agent will know, hey, currently the application is working. But once it drops below that threshold, then the OpenLM agent knows, hey, this application is now currently not being used. It's not drawing up much power, more than its idle state. So how does this come to play with license harvesting? Once you know that your licenses are about to be maxed out, let's say you got 100 licenses and you got 98, 99 users currently using, you got one license left. So you need to start releasing licenses. You tell OpenLM start releasing licenses, but then let's think about it. Whose licenses should you release? Anyone that's not using it. If they're not using actually the application now, then release it. If they're not using it for 1 hour, 2 hours, 10 hours, release it. I have a question here from Gareth. Thank you, Gareth. Who sets the threshold? And who knows what this is? Is this an automatic feature? So the threshold is automatic, is default set by OpenLM, but you can change it. Usually it's set to around 2%, but different applications need different adjustments. And this feature is not automatic. You need to have the OpenLM agent installed on the workstations themselves, and you'll need that in your OpenLM license. This is an extension. Okay, so what can we do? How can we close the application? Because, okay, I need the license back. Once I know that the application is idling for, let's say, 10 hours and I need licenses now, well, I can close that application, freeing up that license. So someone else can use it, meaning that you got the same amount of licenses, but they're better utilized. They're spending less time under an idle state. You'll find that after a while of using the agent like this, you can even decrease the amount of licenses, because now they're not idling for like 20% of the time, they're not idling at all, so you can decrease the amount of licenses you have. But OpenLM does that how? Using the agent. I talked about the OpenLM agent, which is a component installed on the workstation. Now you can install it just by the installer, click, 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 next, 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 that's it. Or if you have a lot of workstations, you can just roll them out using SCCM, using GPO, and they'll be automatically installed on the workstations. Now, what does it do? Basically, if you have an OpenLM server, which is the basic component of OpenLM, then it will just send a transmission to the agent to close the application after saving it. Now, this works using an API that we developed. We developed an API for Autodesk applications, for MATLAB applications, ArcGIS, and Solidworks. So that API basically tells the application, hey, can you please save and close yourself? And just gracefully closes the application. The user can start that project again because it has been saved. Now, let's say it's not one of these four. Okay, we didn't develop an API for it, but we still want to do something about it. We still want to save those unused licenses, to save those idle licenses. What do? Well, there's a little dance that we can do with the agent and broker, which is called a Suspend Resume. Basically, the agent suspends the application. The license gets put back in the pool. So once the user wants to use it again, you simply click a button. The broker checks if there's a license available, and if it is, the agent will unfreeze the process, will unfreeze the application. That means you will suspend, you not save and close, you will just suspend the current session. Other people will use the license currently, and once he needs it, the current session will be unfrozen and he can keep working. Now that's basically the deployment. This is how it looks like. You got the OpenLM server, which is your central component. You've got the OpenLM broker on the license servers. Now the license servers, you know, they provide licenses to the applications on the workstation. So we have the broker on the server, and we have the agent on the workstation itself. And they can interact together, such as with the Suspend Resume method. They interact together. So now, let's say that we're not talking about an application which is FlexLM based. We're not talking about an application which is one of these four applications that we talked about. Let's say it's a DSLS managed application, or maybe it's just a proprietary application. It does not really have a license manager. Maybe it's a standalone, maybe it's a named license. Doesn't matter. It's an application running with a process on a workstation. So the agent can monitor that as well. The agent monitors processes, so it doesn't care. Just there's a process, I can monitor it. I can give you the same amount of information for these processes. So it can define if it's idle, if it's currently used, and it can also kill the application or run a script on the workstation. So just like before, when we talked about floating licenses of FlexLM or any of the applications we talked about, just the same as before, now we can interact with the session. So once the idle time is too high and you need licenses, you can just kill the session. Now, I have seen clients use this for example, if someone is idling for too long, and well, it's not a floating license, it's his license, is just idling for too long. I've seen him get a report that, hey, you've been idling for too long, by his admin, of course. I got this information from OpenLM, you've been idling for too long, hey, what's going on with your work? Whatever. Some use it to pop up a message saying that, hey, are you asleep, or something like that. Pop up a message using the CMD script. So many clients think of many different ways to use this to their advantage. So the deployment of it is pretty simple. You got the OpenLM agent on the workstations, and you got the OpenLM server on just a central network server. And because it's not a floating license necessary, so not necessarily will have a license manager. So I have another question from Gareth. Does the agent work Windows, Linux, or Mac OS? Is there limitations on which OS the agent works on? So currently, unfortunately, yes, it only works on Windows. All Windows platforms, but Windows. Linux and Mac OS, that's well, that's in our roadmap. That's in the future. I don't really know when, but I believe that in the coming year we will see the agent also based on Linux, Mac OS, and Windows, of course. Also, the OpenLM server component will be able to now be on, in a year about, will be on Linux, will be on Windows, but will be cross-platform. But currently, as we speak, Windows only. So what do we get at the end? First thing, reports. We close the sessions. We save those licenses. The licenses are now free and available for other people to use. Great. But we can also get reported on that. We can, as the example I gave you before, we can just tell the, as an admin, we can tell the end user that he's not using the application properly, that he has a lot of idle time, that a full day he got a license and didn't even use it. So what happened on that day? So you can get reported on that, which is very important, because not because you have the reports, because once people know that they are monitored, they start behaving differently. They start using licenses differently. This is something that I've noticed personally. Once people know that their AutoCAD application is monitored, then they think twice before idling with it. They save the work, they close the application, and when they need it again, they open it up. They don't leave it running and idling on the workstation. It changes their behavior. Now they know someone is looking at their work. Not at their work, but at their working behavior. Now, this will require two extensions: actual usage and active agent. Now, if you want to do it for unmanaged processes, so instead of active agent, you'll need unmanaged processes. And the components you'll need is the OpenLM agent, an OpenLM server, probably the OpenLM broker, depending on what you want to monitor. And now I would like to just show you a demonstration, quick demonstration of it. So I have a workstation right here. Let's get both an AutoCAD license. I really hope QA didn't get my license. Great. And let's get Notepad. So I'm not going to do anything with them. I'm not even going to minimize them. I'm just not going to touch them. Now, because it's monitoring the usage, the CPU usage, the memory usage of the application itself, then even if I leave something to run, let's say that I leave it to run overnight, I have a simulation, takes about 12 hours. Well, will the agent close my application automatically? Well, it will find out that there's something running there. There's a simulation running there. So it will not close it automatically. If nothing was running there, yeah, it will close it automatically. Now you also have an option to close it remotely, but manually. Like you see someone's idling. You don't want to wait for the idle time, you just want to kick him off. So let's check it out. I'm gonna click on myself here. This is me, I'm using this feature. From this IP, from this workstation, I've been, for like 1 minute, I've been working on it, and like 45 seconds out of that 1 minute were like idle. Now, not only do I see the application idle time, I can also see the workstation idle time. I was touching the workstation a bit after I opened the application. So I can just wait for the idle time to kick in, or I can click Close App. Let's close these. In case you are wondering why there are two, because one is the package, one is the product itself. It's just how Autodesk works. And in about, well, anywhere between 30 seconds to 2 minutes, the transmission gets here and will politely ask the application to close itself and save the work as you've seen it now. So I get like a pop-up message that agent has recently closed AutoCAD. If I want to keep working, then I just click open. And it reloads the same project that I had. Now, if I want to see what was closed, I can go to the agent right here and check out recently closed documents. Okay. So what about Notepad? Same thing. Let's go to license servers, check out Notepad. This is just to represent a standalone application, just a process running on the workstation. Doesn't matter if it's Adobe, if it's like Photoshop or something, if it's Excel, if it's even Notepad, whatever you want to monitor. So this will actually wait for about 3 minutes until it kicks in. Taking a look quickly at the configuration, I told it, we can tell it that if the licenses are stressed, like 99%, I got 100 licenses, 99 are currently used, and then start releasing licenses. But whose licenses? Everyone who has like 60 minutes of idle time. Kick those out because they're currently not working. Then currently kick those out because I need licenses now. So it works the same way for the process features, which is the floating license, the AutoCAD license that you've seen open. And that's basically it. If we let it run, then we see actually a little crescent here where we can see the idle time, when it was active, when it was idle. You can take this, give it to your end user and show them here you were active, here you were down, what's going on there. You can even see that in the license activity report. Let's take today, include current activity. Scroll to the right, you can see the idle time present here as well. You can see when it was up, when it was down. And that's it, basically. I see I have a lot of questions. I kind of went off on a tangent. Sorry about that. Let's go over them one by one. So, can you explain the licensing and add-ons? Okay, I will explain in 1 second. But for everyone else that needs to go or that had enough, thank you very, very much. Now we will go to a Q&A session. So if you have any questions about what you've seen, go ahead. Just type it in to the questions box of the GoToWebinar tool. We'll happily answer in a moment. But if you just remember about something, remember a question that you want to answer later on, then you can just go to our website, OpenLM.com. Go to About Us, Contact Us, and there are various ways for you to contact us. You can contact us by email, just call us up, one of these numbers. You can click here and you go to the support chat, sales or support chat. the fastest way to get to us. And that's it. If you have any questions, just stick around. Thanks. So let's jump to Gav's question, licensing and the add-ons. Okay, so basically OpenLM has a basic core license, and on top of that, you add more extensions. So let's open that up and take a look at what we have. So you got a core feature, the amount of users, vendors, ports that you'll be monitored, which DB you'll have. But for what we've seen today, you'll need the following. You'll need actual usage. Actual usage is for tracking idle time. If you'll be using one of the applications that we've talked about, the floating license applications, and you want to suspend and resume, or you want to save and close, then you need active agent. Now, let's say that you want to monitor applications which do not use a license manager, as we've seen, then you'll need unmanaged processes. Right here, unmanaged processes. That's basically what you'll need to have for what we've seen. Now, the components themselves, you can get here. You go to Downloads, Client area, and you can find them right here. You got the agent that we talked about, the broker, and the OpenLM server. So do you have an image to explain this? That's pretty much it. I think I went over it. Let me know if you need more information about that. Another question, can you track the versions of MATLAB? So the version itself, yeah, because it's in the feature. If it's in the feature itself, if it's in the license, so if the license has the version, so we track also the version. We can also track different pools of licenses within the same license manager itself. So yeah, no problem. Can you track toolboxes of MathWorks with the agents? Toolboxes, I'm not sure what that is. If you can please expand, I'll get to it. How many people are in this webinar? We had peak, we had 14 peak, now about 10. That's a funny question. First time I had that. How do you deal with GDPR? Can you anonymize the information? Can it be retrieved? Okay, so yeah, you can also anonymize the information. Let me take you to the interface. If we go to Cleanup Manager, GDPR anonymize user, you can just anonymize a user. But you can also anonymize the whole database from all the information. So let me show you how. Go to advanced here, you can store usage information anonymously, set as permanent, and that's it. Permanently, it's GDPR approved, let's say. If this is reversible, no, it's not reversible, it's permanent. Both options are permanent. MATLAB has patches. Is that tracked? If the patches are licensed within the license file you get from the vendor, then yeah, we track it as well. What OpenLM in its core product does, it monitors the license server. The agent is simply giving you more advanced functionalities on top of that for detecting idle time and closing the applications. But what the broker does that sits on the license server, it monitors all that. It monitors all the different licenses that you have on the workstation, on the license server. If, for example, you have Autodesk, you have MATLAB, you have Solidworks, PTC, whatever. Doesn't matter which license manager. Also, we have 35 different supported license managers. Let me show you. We just monitor all those, and what the license manager outputs, we take in. If it outputs the versions, we take it in. If it outputs the different packaging, we also take it in. Everything, usage, expirations, quantities. MathWorks makes MATLAB and another 110 toolboxes. Okay, so toolboxes, I guess it's like a mini application that some engineers use. So we also track that because it's in the license itself. Example, I have MATLAB. I think I have MATLAB configured right here. I have in there. I just have this one, named user. But let me take you to a license manager quickly. Let me show you. Meanwhile, I'll go to another question. Okay, so you probably got a license manager. The license manager outputs this, and it's kind of pain to read. OpenLM simply reads this every second. Reads this. If you have a broker, if you're not using a broker, then it's 1 minute. Reads this every 1 second. We also read the debug log, we read the license file, we read the options file, we read all the files of the license manager to get all that information, the versioning, the toolbox, everything. If it's there, we got it. Can you couple usage to projects? Some people work in projects, switch 2 times per day, setting up different environments, and then cost can you report out on that automatically? So it's not automatic, but what we can do, we can use the agent to pop up a message. Oh, it's not this one. The agent pops up a message asking the user, hey, which project are you working on right now? So I don't have it configured currently, but it's basically a pop-up that will have a drop-down, not this. We'll have a drop-down where you can simply select the project that you're using. So the admin defined that you are currently under, I don't know, Nissan 2020 and under, I don't know, Mercedes-Benz 2020. And you need to design these two cars. Now, you can assign the working time. Each time you open up AutoCAD, it will pop up a message telling you, hey, what are you working on now? You tell them, oh, now I'm working on Mercedes, or now working on Nissan, or whatever. So once you have that data streams into OpenLM, and you can define the different projects and get project billing. Now, I don't have any projects right here. Sorry about that. I don't have it currently configured. Oh, there we go. I have a few. So you got time spent per project. And when you check out the sessions, you also see the session in which project it was assigned to. Let's try and find the project. Okay, I'm not sure where it is. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, here you go. You also got the project itself. And the admin defines the project. The end user can register to a project or create a new project depending on what the admin allows him to do. Oh, happy to help. If you need any more information, let us know. Send us an email, as I said, call us up, chat, whatever. We are fully working still. Even during this time, this strange and turbulent time, we are still working for basically everybody from his own home, but we still have full support, full development. Everything is up and running still. So let us know, call us up. We'll be happy to help. We have around, Gareth is asking how many developers. I'm not sure about that. Not sure about that number. 30, 40, I'm not sure. Okay, thank you, Gareth. I think you're the one that supplied all the questions today, so thank you very much for that. Okay, so that's it. Brett, Joe, it's only us. Thanks for joining the webinar. Have a great day. I'm sorry I have to go. It will kick you out of the webinar. Sorry about that. Have a great day. Bye-bye.